Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of 5 seasonal games. Right now we've got 5 games for summer, and you're going to see that I've picked some titles here that really represent my ideas from the North American perspective. What would I like to experience on vacation? Sun, sand, water. If I'm not going anywhere, what does it mean for me to get outside? Lots of bugs. And for that reason, we are starting out with Bug Fables: The Everlasting Sapling. Bug Fables is an RPG very similar to Paper Mario, so if you're already used to those games, or maybe you just played the Thousand Year Door on Switch and you're looking for more, check this game out. In this game, you've got your 3 main characters, Kabu, Leaf, and V, and they are exploring through the lands of Bulgaria, trying to solve the kingdom's problems. Really fun learning more about the characters and developing their storylines, but the highlights for me are the combat and how you accessorize and customize for the combat. So combat is turn-based, but what really sets it apart and makes it unique is you don't have to use each character one time. You have an ability where you can actually give a character's move to somebody else for that turn. So maybe I want V to go twice because she's the hardest hitter. I can take Kabu's move and give it to her. Most of the abilities that you use have these action prompts, so let's say I use something really powerful with Leaf, I'm going to have to press a series of buttons in a certain time frame. It's not that bad, I'm just telling you that the combat is action-oriented in that sense, reaction-based, I suppose. What I enjoyed most about this game was becoming overpowered through the badge system. So the badge system is something that you can invest in upon leveling up. If you take your points and you invest them into BP, badge points, then you can spend them on equipping badges. Think of Final Fantasy VII with Materia, or any other game where it's something similar. You have a certain amount of points, and you can allocate those to equipping these buffs and different status effects to your characters. There's so many builds for you to experiment with, and if you want to hear more about the game and the gameplay, sound, music, whatever else I cover, I've already done a review of this, and I posted it a few months back, so check that out. Now, why did I pick this game for summer? Because I like the idea of getting up close and personal on the ground level and seeing the different bugs in their bug society, in their habitats, and how they live. I think the developers did a fantastic job of including so many different bugs and insects and giving them unique abilities and different combat styles. Some of them might fly, some of them might use their pincers. You'll see as you play the game. That's what I enjoyed about it though. Even though not every area is necessarily summery, for example, one area is going to be like a desert. Well, maybe that's summery to you. One area has fall colors, and so yeah, you're going to be thinking of autumn at that point, but then you'll explore a jungle, then you'll be on the water, etc. There are different elements like that are more summer environments. But really for me, it was, again, these bug societies and meeting everyone in the bug kingdom that just made me think of summer. The next game on this list, in keeping with the bug theme, is Bee Simulator. And I know what you might be thinking. No, not interested. No simulation games. I'm not going to be pretending to ride a lawnmower around when I don't even want to do that with my own summer. Not interested in placing train tracks or flipping houses or whatever's on the market right now. Bee Simulator, well, it does have some mundane gameplay. I'll explain that. It is not about that. It is not about being a one-to-one simulation with a bee's life. Instead, what you have is this bee who's trying to find a new place for her colony to move to. They're going to move to a new hive because their current abode is under threat, and they've got to do so before winter. So that's the story. Very simple. You'll have these little gameplay elements where it's go and collect some pollen from the various flowers and bring them back. There's an element of backtracking to that I will admit is repetitive and a little annoying, but it's not that bad. It really isn't. The heart of this game and why I enjoyed it and why I can seriously recommend it is because of the exploration. And why it's a summer pick is because that exploration mostly takes place in this grand park with so many things to do and so many places to see. You can fly into one section that might be an amusement park. And so there's all these little carnival games set up. And if you want to be a little bit rude, you can fly up to the kids and pop their balloons. Or you could just take a look at see what the developers include in the game. If you get too close to some of the people, they might react to you. Go to another section of the park. There's a banquet area and there's the water. And the graphics actually make everything look really great and give you a sense of adventure when you're exploring. Also, along the way are these mini games. Maybe it is a little time trial and you're going to be racing a fellow bee through a little obstacle course and trying to get back or trying to catch up to them. Or maybe there's combat. and you run into a place that's already occupied by these wasps, and now you have to engage the wasp, defeat it, to be able to move on. Combat's a funny one. Same with another gameplay mechanic, dancing. And I'll just sum them up like this. You have 2 difficulty settings. The casual difficulty setting is just putting in a few mouse inputs or some keypad presses to go the right direction when you're dancing. Very simple. The advanced combat and the advanced dancing, I don't think I actually did. But the advanced combat, I couldn't really wrap my head around. It has to do with more intricate blocking, and it's a little more involved with what direction you press to make your B dodge out of the way. I actually lost a couple of combats, and I said, you know what? That's not why I'm playing this game. I'm playing it to go around the park. I'm playing it to take a look at the lush grasses and to talk to the squirrels, which you do in some side quests. And I'm playing it to just be immersed in this summery environment. So I turned it on easy. I got through the combats like a breeze. It's a fairly short game, but it is a lot of fun. And if you just want something really cheap and you want something you can spend a few hours on to kind of distract you from the real world, I recommend this game. With the next game, we are stepping onto the sand. It is Beach Spikers Virtua Beach Volleyball for Nintendo GameCube. Now, this is my first true volleyball experience in a video game. I'd played whatever mini games in Mario Party. If there was a volleyball game in Wii Sports, then I've played that, but I'd never actually played a dedicated volleyball game, and this was really good and a lot of fun.
Beach Spikers Virtua Beach Volleyball.
I don't think that this game is playable if you ignore the tutorial, so I highly recommend going with that. It'll teach you the basics, and it'll teach you some advanced stuff. You've got different moves that you can make. You've got your blocking, your serving, your spikes, etc., adjusting the power, and things of that nature. Some sports games, hockey games, soccer games, they're a little more intuitive when you pick them up and play them. This one is a little more intricate, so again, I'm going to reiterate, definitely do the tutorials to get the most fun out of this game. Now let's talk about the 2 different modes. You've got the arcade mode, which is a simple tournament. I think it starts you on the quarterfinals, and then you go semis, finals, and just try to win a championship really quickly like that. And you've got the world mode, the world tour, or whatever they call it exactly. In either mode, you're going to be playing as a country to represent, but in the world tour, you have your own customized character. And your AI, you can think of them as being untrained. They are really miserable to play with, and this is where the strength of the country actually comes into play. I represented Canada, but Canada happens to be tied for last in this game, and what that meant was my untrained AI partner was utterly incompetent, couldn't do a thing. And so no matter who we were up against, anytime the ball went to my AI, if it wasn't a light little lob or something that they could easily float to me, they just bungled the play, and we ended up losing tremendously. I did not want to invest my time in that, but you can. If that's how you want to play, go ahead. All you have to do, even though you're going to start out with some losses, is keep on playing. For every match played, you're going to get some points, and you can invest those in your AI partner's stats, and that will gradually bring them up to speed, make them competent, and then make them play like a pro. What I enjoyed was the arcade, like I mentioned earlier. It's that little tournament structure, really short and sweet. And I liked it because if I happen to lose in the semifinals, or if I lost against Brazil in the finals, I could just replay that round. I didn't have to go all the way back. I wasn't kicked out of the tournament and had to replay it next year, tomorrow, or whatever. I could just replay that match against Brazil, and there you go. Team Canada wins in beach volleyball. How nice is that? So like I said, it's a really fun game. I'm not describing the gameplay, I know, but it's volleyball in video game form. And I shouldn't have to describe too much about how this is a summer game to me. I mean, beach volleyball is a sport in the Summer Olympics, so there you go. This next game has been praised by some for its epic story. Others have called it a masterpiece, one of the best games I've ever played. And me? I just call it Final Fantasy X. It is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, and I'll explain a little bit about it and why that is. All you have to know is that it's a good game, and it takes place in the land of Spira, a world that is full of beautiful azure waters, clear sunny skies, lots of sand, lots of jungles, waterfalls, and some little other things that are sprinkled in here and there, but ultimately this is a very summery feeling game. You play as the protagonist Tidus, but what I appreciate about this game are a couple of things. Number one, you're not necessarily the main character in this story. there's a main character, Yuna, and she's got this journey to fulfill her duties as a summoner. I'm not going to get too in-depth about the story here. First of all, it's a Final Fantasy game, so there's a lot of twists and turns, but second of all, it would take me quite a while to start explaining things in a way that makes sense. We'll just leave it at you amassed your group in JRPG fashion, and you're trying to go on Yuna's quest, but you've got Tidus's own problems to figure out. The other thing that I appreciate is that the developers seem to respect you as more of a mature audience. So even though you might not like Tidus at the start, you might be a little goofy, a little clowny, I think you'll grow to respect him too with his internal monologues. It's a really interesting way of developing the game and moving the story ahead, where you go through a scene, or you might go through what seems like a chapter in the game, and Tidus has his internal monologue. It's basically like he's diarizing the events, and it's interesting to hear his take on it. He's not always joking around. He has his serious moments, and they show us his concerns. And these are the concerns that we would have thinking about what this protagonist is going through in this story too. So I liked that. It was a little more realistic. The things that he thought were some of what I was thinking as well. And it makes you care a little bit more about the character. And as he becomes more intertwined with the other characters, whether it's romantically or platonically, you start to care more for them as well. The last thing that I'll mention about Final Fantasy X is the sphere grid. This is how you customize your characters, develop them. Do you want to have somebody become a thief? Do you want to have somebody become a warrior or a mage? You take your points and you take some items that you obtain and you deposit them in the sphere grid and you level them up, chasing these abilities and chasing these stat increases throughout this board. It's fun to play around with. Most people, I think, will stick to some default builds, but the option is there to customize and to turn characters into these different archetypes. And finally, the last games that I'm recommending are Pokemon Sun and Moon, or Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I have played two of these games, Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Ultra Sun, and I can't honestly tell you which ones are better. I think I liked Moon first. It was my first time playing the game. I was more interested and curious about the world. I was seeing everything for the first time. But the Ultra games are not bad. They rewrite the story in some ways. They do add a little bit of length to the game with the storytelling. But they also throw more bonus features at you, more new Pokemon, and the usual stuff that comes with these enhancements in the Pokemon series. There's not much to say about the story because it is a Pokemon game. So you're just a young kid starting out on the adventure. You pick your starter Pokemon. I guess Game Freak tried to do something different with, instead of the typical gym leader challenge, there are these island kahunas and you go and battle them and you do various challenges for them. But ultimately, it's like a different skin on the same kind of gameplay. You're going to be going into so many different combats, so many different trainer battles. You get the picture. What makes this game so perfect for summer? It is set in the land of Alola, and Alola is based on Hawaii, and is really well done too. I mean, I've never been to Hawaii, but I've been to Alola a couple of times, and I really like it. In the Ultra games, you actually get to interact with the water a little bit more, and there's a surfing mini game. Maybe that's enough to compel you to play the newer version. Either way, you're gonna have a great time adventuring and exploring as you visit these seaside towns, check out their beaches and walk along the coasts, or you're gonna step into the mainland, traverse the jungle, walk up a mountain, all these different environments. Of course, they're summery themed, and they have a lot of different Pokemon for you to encounter. Now, if you're familiar with the old Pokédexes, the original 150, and so on and so forth, you're going to see a lot of those Pokemon making these appearances with their Alolan forms. Rattata is one example of a Pokemon with an Alolan form, but there are many, many more. If you've been looking for something on the 3DS, or maybe you've been wanting to play a Pokemon game and this one was under your radar for a while, check either one of these versions out. Sun, Moon, Ultra Moon. You can't go wrong with any of the four. I'm sure most people will recommend the Ultra versions. Sure, take those if you want. There's some great quality of life features as well. For example, if you're someone who's a little more competitive or you want to train your Pokemon with some better stats, you can just leave them in this little system, AFK, and you ignore it, you come back to them, and they've been leveled up in these certain stats. Or if you're somebody who remembers the older games, the HM slaves, and you can't be bothered with stuff like that anymore, don't worry, they take care of that for you in this game. You don't have HM slave Pokemon anymore. You have different ride mechanics to get around the lands. So there you have it, finishing off this list with some of my favorite 3DS titles. And that's a wrap. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you all have an amazing summer. Maybe some time off would be really nice. Get out there, vacation a little bit if you can. Just enjoy yourselves. Try not to be cooped up all the time. Get some sun, get some vitamin D. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.